La da 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 da, they still gon' hate. No matter what I do, no matter what I do, they still gon' hate. People said I wouldn't be la da 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 da. Just tell me, keep it coming. I hit the club, park ballet. No matter what I do, they still gon' la da 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 da. People said I wouldn't be la da 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 da. Just tell me, keep it coming. Cold like winter, step in my arena. About 5'5", tell me have you seen her? Dudes wanna flirt and girls wanna be me.
Hi everybody, welcome to Conversations with Friends, Playlist Promotions. I'm Charlene Taylor, your host, and I'm here with my friend Shawana Harris. And we're here to discuss today growing up as orphans and also being an adopted person and all the problems that it brings along with it, our issues. If you want to tune in and listen to what's going on, that'd be great. Shauna, introduce yourself to everybody and let them know what you're here, what you do and everything. Give you the links.
Hello, I am Shauna. I am living in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm 40 years old. I am a aspiring promoter, possibly a manager, but what I do regularly, I'm a bouncer at a bar. I throw people out the club.
Oh, really? So
Yes.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep, I'm a bouncer.
I knew that you were part of the music industry, back into the music industry. I just didn't know what it was that you did exactly. So tell me more about your growing up. When did you become orphaned, and how did that come about, and what happened? We want to give some backstory. I want to hear something about you. Let people know what you're dealing with.
Well, my parents died when I was younger. My mom passed away when I was 7, and my dad passed away when I was 10, and my only sibling was murdered when I was 16. So
Wow.
I was actually raised by my mother's parents. They adopted me and my brother after my mother passed away. So once my mother passed away, we went to go live with my mother's parents, my grandmother and my grandfather. My parents actually, they passed away from AIDS. So
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
That was so prevalent I remember when AIDS swept through the Black community, and it was devastating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with your dad?
My dad, actually, we thought that it was the man that adopted him, and we thought it was his brother, but it was his adopted father was molesting him. So that my dad caught AIDS from, and he gave it to my mom, and all three of them died.
Wow. That, you know what? That is really heavy for a kid. And you were how old?
I was 7. I was
Okay.
7 when my mom passed.
Wow. See, and I don't know if it parallels because it doesn't. But then I was adopted at, I don't know, I guess at birth, and how I found out was that I found a letter after my father got ill. And the lady gave me away for Christmas. And at the end of the letter, she said, "Merry Christmas." Like I was a gift, so they didn't do a formal adoption. I didn't,
Right.
so I didn't go to anybody in my family. And so that makes me call myself a throwaway baby.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So with me, I don't know if that made me be who I am now, that I draw people that have been injured or hurt or called the black sheep of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to draw that. I don't know if my experiences as a child it shows more than I think it does. I don't know. Do you think that your childhood had anything to do with being the person that you are right now?
Oh, most definitely. I remember being a kid, and I think I had one friend that came from like a single parent home, but the rest of them had mothers, fathers, and siblings. I can think back. Okay, I had two. I had two that came from a single parent home, but the rest of them had mothers, fathers, and siblings. And I would become friends with them. And I remember never calling their parents by their government names. I always called them like mom and dad.
Okay. So that you know what? That was a lot of that going on back then when we had neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I would call them neighborhoods then. Now you just call it the hood, and
Yep.
because I don't know my neighbors. Do you know your neighbor? Do you interact with them?
I interact with the ones that are on the right of me, and that's it. I had some experiences with some neighbors to where I was super friendly with them, super cool. Watched their kids, helped them out, and they robbed me blind.
Wow. See, you know what? I had friends like that. I had friends that did that to me, you know, because at one time I was on drugs, and yeah, that happened. That period of my life happened. But I had the people that I was around. They were the ones that made me know that that was not the life that I wanted.
Right.
Okay, because I'm being transparent here. You
Right.
know, and these are the things that I didn't want at age 50 to be looking back in my life saying, "Ooh, you still on drugs?" What I
Right.
call drugs is cocaine.
That's what I
Okay,
was on. I've been there.
you know, so I didn't want to be. I'm looking at my friends, and I'm like, this is not cool. This is not what it is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had a girlfriend. Well, called them my friends because we were all doing the same thing. You know, you tend to hang out with what you do, with people
Right.
that you do. So that saying "birds of a feather flock together,"
Yep.
I believe that's true. You know, she went too far. They were doing dates and selling their kids stuff and their food stamp. I could not get with that. That's
Right.
not so that right there and the things I actually physically saw them doing made me back out.
Yep. That's what happened with my experience with it as well.
What triggered you and let you know that you need to stop?
Was me and my roommate, and I was a stripper for a long time. So that's how I even got into cocaine. Like the last couple months of me dancing, I started experimenting with coke. And I woke up one
Mm-hmm.
day and my kids and her kids were eating out the trash can because we was too high to wake up. And I
No.
woke her up and I told her, I said, our kids are in here eating out the trash can. I told her, I said, I can't do this shit no more. And her response was, and they tore up the living room.
Toward the living room.
Yeah, and they tore up the living room. And right then and there, I told her, I said, your priorities is fucked up. I said, I'm done. I can't do this shit no more.
Ooh. You
That
know what? I
that will
ran into
always stick
people,
with me.
and you know what? That's a good wake up call. That's a hell of a wake up call. It really is.
We was too high to wake up and feed them. And I woke up and I seen that and I was like, oh no, hell no, nope. That will always that seeing that right there, right then I knew that. See, I didn't think I was an addict because I didn't do it at home. I wouldn't even come home high. I would stay out
Oh,
until my high went.
oh. See, now that was the difference with me.
Never bought drugs home. I need this in me. I don't have
You breaking
to.
up. You breaking up a little bit. You breaking up a little bit. Hello.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, because you were breaking up just a little bit. That's what that was getting a little bit of feedback. So say that again. You told your girlfriend.
No, I was telling her, I was like, our kids are eating out the trash can. And she goes, and they tore up the living room. And I was like, yeah, priorities is all fucked up. I'm done.
Right. I mean, Did she
But
ever? Did she ever? Did she? I mean, I think about it because that girl, the lady I'm talking about,
mm-hmm.
that was one of the ones I was talking about because they had got to the point where she sold her bed. The money, her husband gave her money to go get them a bed because they were sleeping on the floor. We had just transitioned into apartments because we were homeless. She had an apartment and I was transitioning out. But I went over to her house and she gave the money her husband gave her to get them a bed so they could get off the floor. He gave it to the drug dealer. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I turned around and I said, you cannot go home without a bed for your husband. And I went into my pocket and bought them a bed just so it wouldn't break up her. Because I'm telling you, at the time they were already having problems. And if he had came home from work and she didn't have a bed, what could she have said to him?
The bed's up
Absolutely
my
nothing.
nose. Bed's up my nose.
No, it was smoke. No, she was smoked. She smoked that, and
Okay.
she was in a wheelchair. You understand me?
It's always a form of escape. It's like what I noticed is because I wouldn't do it at home, I wouldn't do it around my kids.
Right.
I didn't think I had a problem for a long time because I only did it at the strip club. Because number one, I really didn't want to be there. I didn't like people trying to touch me and all this other stuff, but the money was so addictive. But the coke allowed me to escape what my morals. I didn't have to be kind of. I could be whatever my stage name was, and I was able to make all the money that I wanted to because there were my morals. I don't have any. I'm Superwoman. Watch me climb this pole. I'm a bad bitch.
Right. But you did what you had to do. You did what you had to do.
Well, what I thought I had to do at the time, but what I was really trying to do was escape the reality of what was my life and at that time and childhood trauma and sexual abuse as a kid and things like that. Because you know, in our community, it's you just go to church and you pray about it.
But you know what? That's a whole nother subject because
there is no doing the work. It's just
there is and they don't talk about those type of abuses within our community either.
No, because then you'll have to tell on your brother, your uncle, your auntie, your sister, your cousin, and you have to hold people accountable and you have to cut them off. And it's looked upon as embarrassing, but they never imagine how the children feel.
You know,
the little boys or the little girls and what that does to people psychologically. What I realized dancing for 17 years off and on is that 97% of dancers have been through some type of sexual abuse, sexual assault. Everybody's story in the strip club is damn near the same.
You know what? And we would joke around about it. You know, Jazz would joke around, say, "I'm gonna go on the pole." I said, "You know what? My job is to keep you off the pole, no matter how broke I get." You know what I mean? So whatever it is we need to go do, let's not even think about that. I know we broke around here. I mean, we were thinking about it in those terms. I hadn't thought about the psychological damage that would push a person to go and do that. You know what I'm saying?
It's always the need of money. And then I've noticed lately that some girls, you know, that's just what they want. I want to go be a stripper because of what psychological trauma that comes with that. I mean, you have to decide that you're going to deal with a lot. You're going to deal with a lot. You're going to deal with being, I don't know, but it's choices. Everybody's like, oh, you did what you had to do. Actually, no, I did not do what I had to do. I did what I thought I had to do at that point in time. But it's like, I think about it, Miss Charlene, and I'm like, damn, I had family members that would watch my kids so I could go to a strip club. How come y'all couldn't watch them so I could go to college? How come y'all couldn't watch them so I could go get a regular job?
But you know what? That gave them something to talk about.
I mean, I was always somebody to talk about. I'm considered the black sheep of the family. I'm the one that doesn't have parents. I'm the one that's lived a hard ass life, but I'm also the one that's gonna break all this trauma off my generation.
You know what? Somebody said to me, you know what? That's a whole other thing because somebody said to me after Jasmine passed, but I try not to say that word hard because my daughter is only 27 years old and she didn't leave out of here because she wanted to. Somebody took her life. But somebody said to me, damn, I lost my train of thought. And that's a shame.
You were talking about we were talking about breaking the being the one the trauma.
Trauma. They said, well, since Jasmine passed, she actually broke your whatever curse, your family trauma or whatever. No, she did not.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. People speak without thinking so many times.
No, she did not, because I'm the one that brought the trauma onto her, because I feel like everything that happened to me that I thought could be avoided in her life happened to her. You know what I mean? So I have to deal with that. I have to live with that. I have to say, okay, Charlene, this was, if you had not been, I think about it, if you had not been so into yourself and wanted to be a mother so badly, you would have taken your time in thinking about bringing another life to the world. You know what I mean? So that to me, I could have made better decisions before I became a mother, because at the time that I was working on getting a child, I didn't care if it was a boy or a girl. I wanted somebody that was going to love me.
And there's nothing wrong with that. that goes back to everything being swept up under the rug,
Mm-hmm.
and us not being taught how to be parents. I'll give you an example. So I have 7 children.
Okay.
My oldest is 21. Then I got an 18-year-old. I got a 12-year-old. See, this got too many kids. I've got a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old twins.
Okay.
Now, my last 3 pregnancies, I did not tell anybody. They just seen them on Facebook. And the reason why I didn't tell anybody is because I remember with my first 4, what was spoken over me as far as being pregnant and being a mother and hearing, oh, you don't need kids. It was always, you don't, you can't, you won't, not going to be able to, all negative. So I never
Right.
got to decide. I never got to decide what type of mother that I could be, that I could be an amazing mother, because I had people that so-called love me telling me that you're not going to be able to do this. So just imagine hearing that while you're pregnant. That's what's put into your head. The people that love you are telling you this, and you believe them because that's your family, right?
Exactly.
So why would they tell you something that's not true? Because they tell you they love you and they know best and they're older than you. So with my last 3, I didn't tell anybody because I decide the type of mother that I'm going to be. That's for me to decide. That's not for you to speak over my child before my child even enters existence into this world.
No, and then when I had my daughter, I believe that you can speak over somebody. You really can. I believe that, because when I had my daughter and my mother saw the issues I was having with the biological father, okay, she came over me and she said, "You are not having not another child." And I was like, "Yo, okay, all right." Then I never had another one.
My
I never
grandma
had
said
another
that.
one.
She would, you know, most people would say that, oh, you're going to get it back from your kids and it's going to be 10 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm. I
grandmother
had
would
that
always
spoke
say,
over me too. I
she
had
would
that
always
spoke
say,
over
you're
me
going to
too.
get it back 7 times worse. 7. She would always say 7, 7, 7, 7. And that's how many kids I have.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But I never,
See,
it's like now I look and I see people who had a problem with me being young. I had my oldest daughter when I was 18. I was homeless and graduated high school. Then I found out I was
oh,
pregnant. But,
really?
yep, I was homeless and still graduated. Washing up in the bathroom at school before people got there. I still graduated.
You know
I still
what? You
graduated.
know what? Let me tell you something. The- I didn't. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't graduate, and that was part of, I believe, my ADD. Hey, Evie, how you doing, baby? Uh, I think that was part of my ADD or whatever mental thing I had, because I could not sit still long enough for a person to get to the point. Okay, I had one teacher in high school in math, and she would, I would come in there on Monday. I learned to find out what the lesson's going to be for the week. She would tell you, sum up everything. I didn't show up until it was test time on Friday, and I would pass.
My
But
brother
that,
used to
that
do
lady
that.
would, yeah, that lady used to get angry. And she called my mother and told my mother, she said, I'm not, Charlene deserves a B as far as her grades are concerned, but I'm going to give her a D, because she comes up in here and she'll whatever, jaw jack around and not come back to my class the next 4 days and come back and take a test, and
And
she'll get
pass
a,
it.
yeah, and these other kids are coming here struggling.
That ain't your
And
problem.
but that's she when she did that. When I left out that school, I said, I'm not coming back, because you're gonna punish me because somebody else is stupid.
Right.
And that's the way I felt about it. You punishing me for no reason. You know, and so I left school. Now Jazz ended up being the same way, and it's a shame that she came and did my life over again. And you try
Yeah.
to avoid that as a parent. You really do.
And I've noticed that when we try to avoid that, it happens.
It does.
It happens.
It
I've
does.
noticed that with my oldest daughter, that what we try to avoid, and our intentions are our intentions are beautiful, because we know what we went through and we don't want our kids to go through that. But they're not
Right.
us. And that's what I have to realize is, they're not us. And even though we teach them right from wrong, they're still going to go out and do what they want to do. That's something I don't like, where people are always blaming parents for their children's decisions. Don't you know that once they walk out this door, it does not matter what you taught them?
No, you know what?
They're going to do what they want to, because I did. Who would have thought that somebody that was raised in church, that had a grandfather that was a deacon, a grandmother that was a Sunday school teacher, I grew up playing the piano in church, I grew up singing, whoever would have thought that I was going to be a stripper? That had nothing to do with my grandparents. My grandparents did not do drugs.
Right.
So I just, that's something that I don't understand either, is when kids do stuff, oh, it's the parents' fault. How? Because as soon as they walk out this door, they're on their own.
Right.
They're on their own. We don't know who they're around. We don't know what the other people that they're
but you
around
know
are going
what?
through.
That's another reason why I brought all the kids to my house. But all the Jazz friends were able to come to my house. That way I could mostly monitor what was going on or see what was going on.
Yep.
But at the same time, I still missed it. I still missed stuff.
Hey, Nassim.
You know, I still missed it. You know, so the thing about it is, even when you think that you get your eye on it, they still have to go out the door and leave your eyesight.
Yeah, they're still going to do what they want to do, because we did.
You know, so yeah, and I did do that, but I didn't do. See, when that goes back to when you said your grandmother said your child's going to act 10 times worse than you. My mother spoke to me, and that's what my daughter did. You know, I went through the running away thing.
Yeah, that was me, and my daughter did that. Lord gee, oh my goodness, she did it. And you know what, Miss Charlene, I couldn't even get mad. I just had to look at it like, damn, that's what I put my grandparents through. Even though it wasn't this damn bad, but I didn't
wait a minute.
like that.
But you know what?
But you were more.
But did you? But wait a minute. Did you run away, or did you run away to a spot and just hide?
Actually, I didn't run nowhere. I walked, or I caught the bus, or I might have called a damn taxi, or I might have called a ride. But I would just leave.
No, because I would leave, but guess I'm gonna sit on the back porch.
Oh no, I was gone.
You know, but they would be looking. They'd be looking. No.
You'd be lucky if I was still in Indiana. I'd be gone.
No, my daughter did the same thing. When she ran away, and she packed her bags and she'd be just out.
Yeah, that was me.
And I go look. I said she ain't going nowhere. She on the back porch. I go look on the back porch and say, "Bring your dumb ass out," because we didn't have nowhere to run. But then she got good because she had friends that were into running away.
Yeah, that's who I ended up clicking up with too. And one of the girls that I remember my grandfather, he would tell me, he'd be like, "You got one more time. You missed curfew, and you're not gonna live here." And I did. I missed curfew, and I came back, and he was like, "Go back where you came from."
Right.
And that was it. That was at like 16 years old, and he was like, "You can never come back," and I was never able to come back, and I never came back.
Wow.
And I'm 40. I'm 40 now. But it was me and the girl that I used to hang with when I ran away that introduced me to the strip club. We ended up talking years later, and she was like, I wanted the life that you had. She was like, you had people that cared about you. You had structure. And I'm like, I wanted your freedom. She was like, I wanted that. I wanted parents like you had. And I was like, and I wanted to be able to do what the hell I wanted to do.
You know what? I had freedom, but I knew I had my father that was living like 4 blocks away from where we lived at. You know what I mean? And I knew that if he saw me doing any, you know what I mean? He was that person. My father was more like like the TV dads, compared to TV dads.
Yeah.
My father was more like a James Evans type. Okay, where he would walk up on you no matter where you were. And he drove the truck for Chicago. He drove the city garbage truck. So these blue trucks pass by. I don't know which one he's in. So you know I'm on my P's and Q's. You know, that I think that people don't know how important it is to have a dad around.
Right.
And I think that's what saved me. He wasn't in the house, and granted, he was not the best husband because he liked to put his hands on my mama. You know, but he became a better husband after they separated. And ain't that a shame? He became a better husband after they separated. He was always a great father, though. I cannot take that away from him. Even though they were not my biological, when I think about it, they did the best they could do with what they had.
Right. People can only give you what they have. And I think I was talking to somebody about that earlier, like with you know how they say like the father figures are the examples for young ladies of what to look for in a man. And my granddaddy was Vietnam War, quiet, cancer, stern, mean. And he didn't give me the very best example of what to look for or what to expect from a man as far as relationships, because all he was a very strict disciplinarian.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't give me more than what he knew or what he had. And then, as we stated before, being raised in the church,
right? And but wait a minute, being raised in the church, you always, you were taught to be quiet. You were, as a kid, were you taught to be? Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid and were you taught the old thing about a child is to be seen and heard?
Oh yeah, and that didn't sit well with me. I'm a Gemini. You want me to do what? Look what I can do.
You're so silly. See, I'm a Leo.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini. Watch this. Look what I can do.
Yeah,
and they always wanted me to be quiet. They wasn't no being quiet. I had imaginary friends. Oh my God, I stayed on punishment. I would talk to myself.
Really?
Yes. I've always been inquisitive. I want to know everything about everything. How does this work that way? Why is that way? Can I fix this from being that way? Is there an alternative? I've always had a mindset like that, to where I just want to soak up all the knowledge and I want to learn. So I noticed that I was silenced as a child, so I would turn my pain into humor. Everybody's so funny, bitch.
And you know what? I made a status about that because I said people didn't understand that the person that's the funniest in the room, that's the one you need to check on because something's wrong.
Yes, 100%. And my grandmother used to be like, "Oh, you should go to Def Comedy Jam." No, you need to figure out why I find humor and stuff that's really not even funny, and why y'all are laughing at it.
Yeah. So I like Robin Williams. I think about people like that.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, he was the funniest person in the world. Who would have thought he was one that was dealing with deep, dark depression?
Somebody that's as funny as he is, and always makes everybody laugh.
Exactly. Because Jazz had paralyzing depression, just like her mother. Paralyzing. And to be that young, but see, the things she had been through, we tried, psychotherapy. You know what I mean? You try that. You try to do the right way. We went to behavioral therapy in somewhere in Toledo. We were living in Ohio at the time. And they actually want, instead of sending Jazz to jail, they wanted her to go to anger management. Well, Jasmine told me, she said, "Mom, anger management only made me angry because they would tell me I was angry when I really wasn't."
Yeah. Yep.
And she had, you have a thing about that. If I'm not angry, don't keep asking me if I'm angry, because if I tell you I'm not angry, now you're going to make me angry.
Because I'm not angry, and I'm telling you I'm not angry. I hate that. I tell people I'm not angry, I'm disappointed, or I'm not angry, I'm hurt, or I'm not angry, I'm surprised. And I'm quiet because I'm trying to process what's going on right now.
Right. I mean, it's hard to explain to people that you don't want to give everybody your life story because you feel like everybody's not interested. You feel like, why would they care about what I'm going through, because they got their own thing. So now you put everything on the shelf and you holding it in, and it comes out when it's not supposed to. Have you found yourself in those positions where you end up doing things that you know you shouldn't be, but you're reacting in the wrong way to something that is so simple?
Yes, with me, that's never been from holding it in, because I've always been an open book. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always told people, "Hey, my parents are dead. I'm an orphan. I don't have family."
You know what? That didn't happen to me until my mother passed away. I didn't get that feeling until I didn't get that freedom. And you hate to say it like that. I hate to say that.
I didn't even know I was an orphan until 3 years ago. I thought an orphan. Really? I didn't even know that. Yeah, I had no idea that all this time I was an orphan. I had no clue until I looked it up one day, and I was like, "Well, I'll be damned. I'm an orphan."
So damn that! Wow, that's how nobody decided to tell you. Nobody reached out and said anything to you.
No, nobody said anything, because it's been. I've noticed that a lot of things and situations in life, unless a person goes through it, they don't know how to comfort you. and they really don't know what to say, because a lot of stuff is, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. Because just think about it, it's like, as soon as you tell somebody, oh, I'm an orphan, or something like the first thing, so I'm so sorry, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Right. So, because I'm telling you, when we were holding our conversation, I was, when you told me, I was like, well, actually, I kind of know how I feel, it's like I feel it, even though it happened to me later on. When you find out that your parents are not your parents, to me, I felt like there was a death. The day that I found out that the two people I was being a stand up citizen for and not embarrassing the family and staying in my place, these are not even my parents. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's how come I was not.
What happened? I can't hear anymore.
I was not put off when you said that you were an orphan. I was not put off by those comments. Because I felt the same way when I found out my parents were my parents.
No, my phone started ringing and it messed everything up. Gosh darn it.
Okay. Oh, can you hear now?
I might have to go out and come back in. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Richard, for tagging everybody in. I really appreciate it. And whoever else is holding on, I really appreciate it. My guest will be right back. She's trying to get back in to the line because she started breaking up and somebody called. So she's going to be right back. Until then, you stuck with me. I'm here, Charlene Taylor. If you like this live, you can follow me on Playlist Promotions with a Z. I'm on Facebook, everywhere. You just look for Playlist Promotions with a Z, and you can follow me from there. Hey, Shawana, back in. Or let me see if I can find you. Oh, you're coming back. Okay. She says she's coming back in. So yeah, we're on a little slight delay right now. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, y'all. So anyway, I just wanted to talk to everybody and get a feeling on backgrounds and what your childhood, what things that happened to you in your childhood, how does it affect you as a grown up? Because I'm reliving everything right now. I'm reliving childhood trauma since my daughter passed away. I'm just trying to go back over my life and figure out how could I have made things different. If I had reacted different, could have the outcome been different for her if I had handled my own stuff in the first place. But as a kid, how do you tell somebody that these things are happening to you, especially when the perpetrator is telling you, if you tell, they're going to take you from your mom and your daddy. How does a 3 or 5-year-old process that? And so I want to talk to people that have been through it, how they're dealing with it. I want to talk about real life issues. Music is great. We can blend that in, but right now I just want to, because right now some people need somebody to talk to, and that's why I'm here. I'm screaming out. Yes, this is part of my therapy, and yes, I want my company to succeed. But right now, I need to get people involved in just talking to, just talking and getting things out. Okay, Shauna's back, everybody. Now you're done talking to me. So Shawana, you can finish what you were saying, darling.
Oh, the dang on phone rang.
Oh, okay. So what were we talking about? That's a shame.
About having to tell people that we're orphans.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, what I was saying was, does it make sense that I was able to identify with you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I don't know what it is about people. I think the people, even when I meet somebody that just came out of jail, usually, and I mean, been in prison for a while, and usually people are scared to talk to them and ask them personal questions. Not me, because if you come to my house, you've opened yourself up. I'm that person. Okay, because I want to know who's around me, who was around my kids, who's around my family. Had a couple of young men had came here. They had, my daughter's friends. They for some reason they the pick me girls of the prison system. So they would bring these little random dudes. This is my boyfriend this week. He just got out of prison. But I would ask these guys questions. Like, are you institutionalized? And some of them would say yes. If you ask them an honest question, they would give you an honest answer. And that's the way I treat people. That's the way I treat people. But some people are off put by that. They don't want, who are you to ask me that kind of question? Well, I'm trying to get to know you, not the facade that you're putting on for them out there. Because if I ever see you outside of this, I want to be able to know that I can trust this person to get in my car, or I can trust them getting into their car.
Right.
Because just because you come to my house and you come to a party does not mean that you're a good person for me to be around after that.
Exactly.
So if we could get people more to talk and get into more back into community. That's what I'm thinking about. Getting more back into having a community instead of. What did you say?
I lost the audio for a second. What did you say? I didn't hear that last part. The audio cut out.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking that if we can get back to having a community instead of just having a hood.
Right.
If we could do that, if we could come and start protecting our children, we need to protect our children. We can't just send them to a school and think they're going to be protected. We can't, we as Black people need to take charge. Because
it takes a village thingy.
Yeah.
Nah,
because
my village.
I was born in 1962. Okay, so I'm at 5 years old. I was walking myself to school down the street, and my mother might tell me to go to the store for her. After she separated from my father, she would tell me to go to the store for her. She would write a note, give me the note, and I would go to the store. But if I did anything between time going to the store and coming home, somebody called my mother and told.
Yep, somebody was always calling my granny, telling on me.
Exactly. But now if you do that, it's people saying you getting in my business, worry about your own kid. Hey, Joseph's in the building.
Joseph, a shrimp boat captain.
Okay. So people would get mad. So how do you mind people saying anything to your kid if they're saying it appropriately?
I would, having a village would actually be nice. I am my village. It would be dope to have a village. I'm my own village, and then I'm part of I don't have the same support to a certain extent. My best friend is from England, so she lives here in America now. So she's kind of like me. There's nobody here. We have each other. We're both single mothers. She helps me as much as she can. I help her as much as she can. I mean, we help each other as much as we can. And then my other best friend, we do what we can, but the villages that were prevalent back when we were younger, I would love to have a village. Right. Somebody please come tell my kids. Somebody please come get on my kids. Maybe they listen to you.
Right.
Because I have other people's kids that won't listen to them, but they'll listen to me.
Right. And that's the way it was when I was living in Ohio, back when Jazz was like preteen and all this stuff, when all the kids were hanging out at my house. They would come and I would talk to them. I mean, we had got to the point where a couple of young men came and told me their medical problems, and I was trying to talk to them about it. They girlfriends, they this, that, but that means they couldn't talk at home.
Right. I've noticed that, like with my oldest daughter's friends, she's got friends that her best friend, they've been friends since they were 3 years old, and Heaven is December the 19th and Zoe's December 14th. Mm-hmm. And that she's been a part of my life so long. She has a key to my house. She comes in whenever she wants to.
Yeah. Jazz got a girlfriend like that. Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like even with that relationship, I can see where I was more available for her than her parents, her mother or her father, were for my children. And I always felt some type of way about a lot of things. Like, okay, that it's just me. You know that I don't have parents. You know that I don't have
Right.
why does it not register in your head? But then I also realized that I don't want you to understand what the fuck that
Right.
feels like. I honestly don't. So now I just take that and I just like, okay, so you know that you're a single mother. What can we do to make this a more better situation? If you know that if I know
Mhm.
that I need help, then what can I do to be able to afford some help? To hire a nanny. So now instead of me like being mad about it all the time,
Mhm.
I want to know how I can do this more better so I can leave a legacy for my children and not leave the same pain that I have. The pain has to go. I've been this way since I was 7 years old when my mother passed away.
Uh-huh.
Mom.
Wow.
So now my mindset is okay, this happened, that happened. There's nothing I can do about my past. Yes, my parents died. Hell, if they could have stayed, they
Right.
probably would have. You know what? Nobody thinks I'm just gonna go ahead and die and leave my kids to suffer.
You know
So
what?
okay.
You absolutely right.
So it's like I don't know the cause or the thoughts that they went through in their mind that caused my mother to get into the situation that she did with my father. But I also know that I can pick a motherfucker too. Excuse my language, but I can. I can pick the wrong men.
Right.
I can do that. So I'm not about to
I've
judge
done
my
that.
mother. I'm not about to judge my father because I don't know what he went through. I do know that the man that adopted him molested him. There was
Mm-hmm.
probably it wasn't it was it homosexuality is not now, it wasn't accepted like that then. And then being a man, so you're embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have these feelings and you don't even know if those are natural. So I'm not about to judge him based off that either. So I know that
Right.
I went through all of this. I know that I've made a whole lot of mistakes. I know that some of them has affected my children, but all that's over and done with now. I cannot do nothing about my past. I can do something about my now and I can do something about my future. So my mindset now is, okay, Shauna, we know that all this happened. We know that you was angry. Angry ain't got you nowhere. What are we going to do to fix this? That's where I'm at mentally now.
Okay.
We're going to heal childhood
Okay.
traumas. We're going to acknowledge. We're going to make better choices. We're going to learn how to cut people off, not people please, and
Mm-hmm.
stop the trauma bonding with people, and
Mm-hmm.
stop thinking that okay, you have a good no. If your heart is good, it's gonna work.
Right.
So your heart is gonna do what's best for you. So people are like, oh, I got a good heart. No, you have a lack of boundaries and you're a people pleaser.
Right.
So how are we going to learn our worth, regardless of everything that we went through? How are we going to learn our worth and walk in our worth and just do better? And maybe we will be that start that new village back up with a different mindset, not the mindset that what goes on in my house stays in my house, not the mindset that just pray to Jesus and everything is going to be all right, but a
Yeah,
mindset
because
that
that
works
ain't
with
worked
trauma.
yet. That hasn't worked for me yet.
No, and
That that that
there's nothing wrong with Jesus and there's nothing wrong with God because I'm telling you, he
nothing
spoke to
at
me
all.
on the strip club through a Lenny Kravitz song, two of them, same songs I used to dance to all the damn time. But he
Okay.
allowed me to hear them songs totally different that night, and that's what started me on this journey. But it's like,
Um.
okay, I know I'm not mad at nobody. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they still don't know that when I say they, because they don't know who killed my brother. I had a dream about my brother's murder before it happened. Motherfucker, I'm not mad at you. You got to look at me knowing that I look just like my brother. And I know that you were going through some type of torment because anytime you
Mm-hmm.
take somebody's life, something is fucking wrong with you.
You know what? And that's my whole deal now. Because I didn't become well. I kind of just put my circle myself around what my daughter needed to do because I was lacking in her earlier years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like I was lacking, and even though she said she didn't see it that way and that she was okay, I have that guilt that I
Right.
carry.
Yes.
Okay, because I know I could have done better by her, even though she didn't get. I tried to keep everything away from her. She still saw things she shouldn't have seen.
Yep.
Okay, she still went through things she shouldn't have went through. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I blame myself for that. I kind of I'm going through the stage now where when things happen, I be saying I'm so glad my baby's not here to see that. But then I'm like, my baby's not here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
Right.
used to wake up every day and say Jasmine and dead in the same sentence.
Yeah.
27 years old. We never got it. We were talking about her having babies. We named her babies, you know? And she was the godmother to 3. Actually, more than that, she was like the big auntie to everybody, you know? So for a soul like that to be taken away, I'm having a hard time dealing with that, you know, because I had to restructure everything. My whole life has been just woo. When the nucleus has been taken away, now me and her husband just walking around through here just like, you want to talk about The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we used to go from cooking dinner to now just slap something on a piece of bread and walk through the house.
Yep, that's understandable. That's understandable.
You know, so I'm trying to come out of that. And that's why I want to reach out to people like you that are, I don't know, that might be trauma. I don't know, you know.
What, like a trauma bond?
Yeah, that might be. I don't think it is.
Trauma bonding is when you're not trying to grow from your trauma. Trauma
Right,
is
but
where all you do is talk about the trauma, and you ain't even worried
okay.
about the solution. You just want somebody to sit in your trauma with you and
Okay.
feel your pain.
Okay. Now, see, 59, I can always
bond.
learn something. 59, I can always learn something. See, I'm thinking that we was trauma bonded because everybody that was at my house was always they had some form of trauma that happened to them in their lives. So, no, I think that was just my house was a safe space.
Yep, that's what mine too. Now I don't let people in like I used to, but it used to be. I think a lot of the times when we attract people with trauma, it has a lot to do with. Sometimes it's easier. It seems like it's easier to help other people heal than to heal ourselves. It's like, you know how they say that we can give people the best advice, but we can't take our own advice.
It is much easier for me to talk about somebody else. Talk about what's going on with me. It was so much easier if somebody else was homeless, how me to show them how to get unhomeless instead of me going out getting what I need to get. You know what I mean? And yeah, that you're absolutely right. When I think about it, you're absolutely right.
So, you know, I think a lot of the times we attract those type of people, not only because the traumas are similar, but because they're showing us what needs to be healed within ourselves. So if we can help everybody else, we can obviously help ourselves too. But we have to take that same amount of time that we put into helping other people and talking to other people and talk to ourselves. That's just like we have to learn that we have to change the way that we talk to ourselves, especially when we're orphaned or we lose our parents or mother at a very young age. They call it basically a mom gap. So that encouragement and that nurturing that we should have got from our mothers, we didn't get. So just imagine that we didn't get that from. I remember my mom. My mom was very soft spoken, and she was very loving. So for me, from a very soft spoken and loving, every time I did something that was wanting to beat my ass, that was a big jump for me as a child. But we have to learn how to reparent ourselves. So just think about it. Like when we talk to ourselves, how we'll tell ourselves, "Oh, bitch, that was dumb," or "You shouldn't have did that dumb ass shit." We have to reprogram that voice when we talk to ourselves, and that helps us to heal our childhood wound. So instead of being aggressive with ourselves, we're probably not going to talk to somebody else that we're trying to help like that, right?
Right.
So we have to learn how to talk to ourselves like that. So if we mess up, okay, that's okay. You're still doing good. I'm proud of you. And it's weird at first, but it actually works.
Yeah, you know what? Because I was looking. I do a lot of TikToking now because that's what me and Jazz used to do. She would come down from upstairs and jump in my bed, and we just gonna look at TikTok for a little while, and then we're gonna get up and feed the dogs. The next thing we know, it'll be 5 o'clock in the evening. It's done got dark outside, and we started to TikTok it, and I learned a lot. There's a lot of people out there that are like us, just want somebody to listen. You know, just listen to what I have to say.
But what happens if we don't get that?
Right.
What can we do if we don't get that?
Right. I started a podcast.
I started talking to myself. I be having full-fledged.
No, I actually, if I went live every time I had a strange thought, I would never get offline.
I be having full-fledged conversations in Walmart out loud. I don't care if somebody thinks I'm crazy. I'm working through this shit. I'm
I
in my
bought,
mind. I'm
you know
not
what?
trying to take it home, work
Yeah,
through it.
yeah,
And I don't care
yeah.
where I am. Driving, Walmart, it does not matter. I have to work through it. And if we think about it, some of the best advice we've ever got or given to people have come from us. So we can give ourselves that same advice, but we just have to watch the
You
way we
know
talk to
what?
ourselves.
You know what? It is amazing because I have told people things like I'm set up now. I'm in Jasmine's studio now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken down the artwork that she had up there just so I can just walk into the room.
Right.
I I have all the equipment that I needed for months to do this.
Mm-hmm.
For months, but I was so wound up into my loss and my trauma,
Yes.
and I could hear her talking to me, telling me, "Mama, you slowing down the process."
Mm-hmm.
Yo, but I'm arguing back and forth with her in my head. So the full-fledged conversations, I have those, but
Yeah.
going outside, I have to talk to myself before I go out.
Yes. I call that hermit mode.
Okay, okay.
When you're in hermit mode.
I thought I was losing my mind.
No, you're not. I had to pull my oldest daughter helped me get out of hermit mode because she was like, Mama, it's your mind. She was like, you've always told me that. She's like, it's your mind, it's your mindset. She says, Mama, it starts in your mind. And she was pissing me off. She's 21, but she's very wise. And she's like, I learned it
Right,
from you. But she's like, Mama, everything is starting in your mind. She was like, what are you telling yourself? What is going on in your head? She was like, Mama, it's in your mind. And she's
right.
right. Because once I started having the conversations with myself and
Mhm.
instead of wanting somebody to listen to me, actually talking to me, because that's who needs healed anyway, while I'm out here trying to help everybody else and then ending up
Yeah,
worse.
yeah,
I'm going to talk to myself because that's who needs the healing. And the healing is going to come from within. Whatever we need to heal, however long it takes, as long as we keep putting in the work, it's going to happen.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we have to put in. We're gonna have our bad days. We're
It's
gonna have days
hard.
where
It is
it
hard
is.
though.
But it gets easier. It gets easier because once we change our mindset, it's like I've been listening to this artist named Londrell, and he does a lot of meditations. I've changed how I talk to myself. I've changed the frequency of the music that I've listened to. I've changed
Mhm.
the way that I interact with. You know what, Miss Charlene? I just listen a lot now. I learned so
Mhm.
much more by listening because my intuition is groovy. It ain't never been wrong.
Okay.
Never been wrong. My intuition has never been wrong. But somewhere along the line, I was taught not to listen to myself. And I'm
Right.
trying to pinpoint that
Right.
so that I can that's called the root of it, getting to the root of it. So that I can trust myself more. It's like I'm out here trusting everybody else and everybody else has let me down. Yeah, we're humans. That's fine. I know I can't trust you. So that means that I got to be able to trust me.
I went
My,
through a I went through a phase of going out and being amongst friends when I was in high school,
mm-hmm,
and in my teenage years. But by the time I hit 21, it was more of, I mean, well, 30. By the time I hit 30, it was more I wanted to be by myself. Uh,
yeah,
it- I'm cool. I didn't go out, and then when I found out the information, I found out that's when I got into the drug thing, and then I laid off for a long time. I've been on and off I have been on and off for a long time. I felt like, but it was only 10 years, but it felt like it was too long already. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
6 months felt
So
like 6 years to me.
you know what I'm saying? So I was running through back on for a year, off for 3 years, on for a year, off for 3 years. I'm like, I am not gonna keep playing with this because if I can clean myself up and just stop for 3 years, I can stop forever.
Yeah, yep,
So now you're playing with yourself. Why you playing games?
yep. I was
But
off for 8. I was clean for 8, got a divorce, went back to where I found a coquette in the strip club
mm-hmm.
and was arrogant with it. No, don't you ever offer me no stuff like that. The arrogancy of being
Right.
arrogant. And then ends up right back on it. And I was talking to my best friend because we was like, she made me a best friend cup. I love my cup. But I was like, damn, it's been 8 years again. But then I just
Mhm.
found myself in a situation where I was around it again. And I was like, that is not a coincidence.
Yeah, I had
there
to cut.
Are no coincidences.
I cut off the people that I was hanging around. Okay, that was my first thing. But I forgot to cut off the dealer because he was a friend. Now he knew that I didn't want to do anything. He started just giving it to me. After I stopped buying it, now you want to just start giving it to me? You're not a friend of mine.
Last time, the last dealer that I was, he gave me a bag of baking soda.
Okay. No, this fool was giving me just to me. And I'm like, and I thought about it. I said, I got to get away from him too because you're not my friend.
Miss Charlene, I left everything and went to a homeless shelter. I took my kids and I went to a shelter here in Indiana called the Wheeler Mission Center for Women and Children. And it was so funny because I have dreams about stuff and then it happened. So I remember in this dream, I moved in this house and the house was beautiful, but then I had to step down. One of my favorite cousins was with me. And I stepped down into like this room with a bunch of cubicles and beds in it. And I told my cousin, I was like, I don't want to live here. I want to live in that part. She was like, you got to live here first and then you'll get to there. So when we finally went to the shelter, the address in my dream was the exact same address at the shelter, and the exact same room in my dream was the room we lived in the shelter. Then when we moved out of the shelter, the house that I really, really liked in my dream is the actual house that we moved into when we left the shelter.
I dreamed about Jazz before she was even born. 10 years before she was even born.
Oh, wow.
10 years. And that child came out looking just like this baby that was laying in this bed, little, I was dreaming I could see me going down a hallway because I could hear the baby crying for me, right? And when I walked into the baby said, I love you, mommy.
Oh.
And I woke up looking for a kid. I woke up looking for this child. And I'm like, you can want something so bad, your mind will start playing tricks on you. Because I thought I was pregnant. I thought I was 6 months pregnant and hadn't had sex in over 2 years. So I was immaculate conception.
They call them spirit babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, spirit babies that are already there in the spiritual realm, waiting to be born. I better not have no more spirit babies. I tell you what, you better go find another. Because no, thank you.
I did that. I didn't. Jazz was around 10 years before she came.
Yeah, spirit babies that are waiting to be born in the spiritual realm.
Right. I didn't have her until I was 31.
Yep, they just chilling, waiting like, come on, mama.
Okay, just hanging around. Just you will pop up every in a dream.
Yep.
She will pop up, I just wanted to pop up now. Well, she popped up once. And the dream was so real, but I couldn't see her. It was pitch black, but I could feel her body and I was pulling her, trying to pull her back and tell her, come on, we got to go. And she wouldn't budge, but I could feel her playing with the dogs because we have 3 dogs. And she used to play with them a lot. So I could feel her playing with them. I could hear her talking to them. And as soon as I couldn't pull her anymore, and I was still dreaming. I hear her say, Mama, I love you. But it sounded like she was in a rush.
Yeah. Have you been paying attention to your dogs lately?
They all over me.
They've been acting weird. They've been looking at stuff that you don't see.
They growling at stuff and then they run up to stuff and they turn in a circle. They doing weird stuff. I got my pit bull. My pit bull, he talks and sleep at night. Now you got 100-pound pit bull, and he's got the floor rattling. I'm like, boy, if you don't go.
Yeah, I think when they're doing that she's around. My belief systems are a little bit different than other people's because of what I've experienced in life. But I would pay attention to your dogs.
Yeah,
especially with that being in your dream, that means something.
Right. So yeah, and I got one that just walk up to me and just stare at me for a long period of time.
He's probably by you when that dog is doing that.
Just stare at me. And one night, I didn't know if I was asleep or I thought I was tripping, but I could have sworn I saw Jasmine's face looking at me in the window. First time it didn't scare me, it stunned me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a fear, but it was like I was shocked.
Yes. Yep.
You know? And I could see her, I could see her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but I had to get up and close the curtain because, it didn't scare me. Like I said, it didn't scare me. I was just stunned that it happened, period,
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that she's around because right after she passed away, I ended up in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I have a defibrillator. See, I told you I got all kinds of issues. I have a defibrillator. It actually came through my skin.
I remember that.
Okay. And that was right after my daughter passed away. It hadn't been 3 months. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I was going through some physical things because when I'm looking at this thing through my chest and my daughter said, go to the hospital, I can hear her say, because if she had been here on earth and seen that, she would have called the ambulance herself. When I went into the hospital, they automatically took me to the back. I was in there for 3 weeks, and I think I dropped 30 pounds while I was in there because I was 170 when the last time I weighed when I came out was 145. So the trauma of losing a child, because when you haven't planned to do it the other way around,
right?
You know what I mean? Because Playlist Promotions wouldn't have gotten started had it not been for her being in music. Because I'm home, well, basically homebound because I can't do physical labor anymore. So that means I can't get out and do the work that I know how to do physically. So I got to find something to do because I'm losing my mind. There's nobody in here to talk to. I don't have any friends. So I started just putting her music out on my Instagram, just having an Instagram and playing games on Facebook. But then when that turned and she wasn't going to be in the group anymore, I had to change it to just promote her music and whatever artist I could find online that I liked. It started out basically as a hobby. But I didn't realize people were getting paid for that. I didn't know that my hobby was something that I could make money from and get revenue from.
I like sending them into the review shows. I didn't know people got paid to do that.
I didn't, and I was doing it for free. I put people in that have one track battles. I didn't ask for any of the money or any of that.
Yep, me too.
It was just that I liked the song.
Yep. That's how I got started too.
So really being honest, Geddes over at Green Game, he's the one that I was on the phone with him.
Oh, Geddes is a hoot.
He made me go get an LLC. Listen, had it not been for him making me take it seriously, hey, good morning, Johnny. Had it not been for him making me take it seriously, I would not have my LLC right now. So I thank him for that. And I thank him for really listening to what my daughter had to say, listening to her music instead of, we knew the production was off. We knew that. We found that out. We found we got gypped in that deal.
Right.
But it was too late. It's too late now. That ship is sailed. There are no stems, there are no nothing. So now I have to try to fix it the best way I can.
Hello.
So that's where I'm at as far as the music is concerned. So I had to take Playlist Promotions and twist it another way, which now is going to be split again because I want to keep conversations with friends separate from the music side. Even though they kind of intertwine, but I want to keep this side of what we're doing here serious to where people can come and get a release. If you want to hear some music, go over to my other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? But right now we're having adult conversations because people need to find some way out.
Yes.
I believe a lot of the crime that's happening, people who had a way out, if it was more than just them in their room thinking about what's going on.
Yes.
You know, that's what I want conversations with friends to be.
Yep,
Where
and
people,
to know that you ain't got to stay trapped. You can, if we can be trapped in our head with negative thoughts, we can be trapped in our head with positive thoughts. If we don't give ourselves enough credit to the power that we have with our mind, we don't give ourselves enough credit for what
but
we
that's
can
a
actually
scary thing. That's a scary thing. I'm
what we
gonna
can
tell you,
actually do with our minds. It's
that's
like
a scary thing because I'm trying to figure out how to cultivate and how to grab onto the real power that I know that I have.
mm-hmm.
But I've been afraid.
Yeah.
And now that I'm alone,
That's another thing, Miss Charlene. We have to realize that we're missing people and they are not here with us, but we are still not alone. I think that's what bothers being an orphan and losing family members so much is that
mm-hmm.
we just keep telling ourselves that we're alone and we get
Yeah,
we and we believe it. That's the power
yeah,
of our mind again.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
power of our mind. Because I had to think about it. I have 7 children, okay? And I've
Mm-hmm.
always said, I don't have nobody. I don't have nobody. And I never thought about how that made my kids feel.
And Jazz verbalized that. My
I
daughter,
never thought about that.
I hadn't thought about the toll that it took on her for me to be
Of them being there
and me
and
saying I
always
don't have
being
nobody.
there. And then me just saying, I don't have nobody. I don't have that's because it's like where I was living at in my head was not in I was still 7. I was still 10. I was still 16. I was still a little girl. I was
Right,
a little girl in a woman's body with kids that was not healed from trauma,
right,
not knowing that it was possible to heal for trauma, thinking this was normal and
right.
that I was always going to feel this way and that things will never get better. And I never
Mm-hmm.
thought about how saying I don't have nobody made my kids feel. And it probably made them feel like I felt.
You know what? And that's the strangest thing because even when I was working, okay, I could take the low level job, but I never stayed in that position long because I'm getting feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting feedback. I never stayed in those positions long because I always tried to figure out a way of moving up. Where's the feedback coming from?
I don't know. I don't hear it. What is it like what is it, a whistle or something?
Yeah, it's like I'm getting playback somewhere. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have them on 2 mics. I don't understand. I'll fix it in the replay. I mean, when I
Hey
do
Johnny.
it, try at least I'll try to anyway. I hope. I don't hear it now though. That's strange.
You know
Maybe
what else has been helping me? It's gonna actually
what?
my next tattoo is gonna say be present and I'm putting it somewhere where I can see it.
You know what, Jazz? Speaking of tattoos, Jazz wouldn't got a tattoo. I had told her she was never going to get a tattoo until she moved out of the house. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This little girl came home one day. She went, I'm going to a party, not telling me it was a tattoo party. Okay. Came back with my name around her wrist.
Aw.
Yeah, but she came in and she said, Mama, I know you told me not to do this, but look, I got your name. And I looked at her. I said, there it is. I said, there it is. I said, if she went and did me, I would have did some shit like that.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
would have did that. I would have did that. So I'm just looking at her and she just smiled and she said, don't hurt me. I said, you know what? You got this one.
Yep.
But you know, I told you not to get a tattoo, but you wouldn't got one with my name on it, so I wouldn't hurt you.
Smart.
Exactly. So I couldn't get mad at her. All I could say was, that's my kid.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. My daughter, I told her she couldn't get my name, so she knows that I love butterflies. So she's got butterflies going down wrapping around her arm and down to her finger.
See that mess. That's that mess.
But she's got so many tattoos. She's got so many tattoos and piercings, but I went out and got them. So I mean, there's really nothing too much that I can say about it.
Jazz had piercings too. You know, she had the 2 in the eyebrows, and
Haven't got so many. She went out and got every piercing that I got. Oh God.
Then she had 2 somewhere else, and I'm looking at her like,
yep, that's heaven.
That hurt. You
That's
know,
heaven. Yep, that was heaven.
That hurt. You know, so but they gave them back to me, so I keep those in my wallet. I keep her eye piercings and her other nipple piercings, and I got she was growing her dreads out, so I have her hair.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep that with me.
Yeah.
Because people might think I'm crazy, but when I'm in the store, I'm talking to her.
You're not crazy. Energy does not die. It can only be transferred.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just I look at my kids and I look at my kids and I'm like, okay, so I've got Heaven. Heaven is the 21-year-old. Then there's Jaden. Okay. Jaden is 18. That's my son. Jaden reminds me so much of my brother. Miss Charlene, their handwriting is the exact same. My brother had the weirdest, smallest, nobody. You would never think that anybody. My son writes just like my brother.
Wow.
My son acts just like my brother. Jaden's 18. Then Honesty is, how does Honesty? Honesty's 12. And then Journey is 10. Okay. And then the one that I always call Medieval Karate Tyler, his real name is Zion. He's 3. And then Major is 2, and Eiley's 2. Okay. And Major, my grandmother's name was Marjorie, so I just rearranged the letters in her name and came up with Major. And then he has my grandfather's first name as his middle name, so he's Major Charles. And then Eiley, her name is just Eiley. It's I Love You Forever, but I shortened it to Eiley, and her middle name is Forever. Okay. But I be wondering, like, which one of y'all are you, my mama?
You know, me and Jazz had that discussion because, you know, we had figured out the way our relationship was. Mm-hmm. I said, she said, Mama, I think that we have been not soul mates, but we have a soul contract.
Yes. Yeah. So when Journey was little, mm-hmm. Journey looks just like me, but I look just like my mama, but Journey looks more like my mother than I do. So I remember Journey was like 2, and I was sitting there and I was talking to her. I was like, damn, you look like my mother. Why do you look so much like my mama? She said, because I used to be your mama.
But you know what? I was trying to figure out who Jazz looked like. And she was fine. You know, she gets a lot from her father's side. Mm-hmm. But there are parts of me in it. I'm looking at parts of me in there. As she got older, I could see more of it. Because people used to say, Jazz looks like you. I said, no, I don't look like, I'm not like, oh, I wish I did, but I don't look like her. You know what I mean? That's the way I always felt. Because that's another part of childhood trauma. You would be okay if you were not fat. I was told that. Yeah. Okay. So now that didn't realize that that's a complex.
Yeah, it is. Like I just got my Gap clothes. They would tease me because of my Gap. They would tease me because
I had a Gap too. Oh, I had a Gap too.
Last year.
I had a Gap too. So I let them pull them all.
Yep, I had mine closed because of childhood teasing is real. That's one reason why I took my kids out of school, especially Honesty, with all her health problems. That's why I started homeschooling. Like, it's too many kids that are suicidal in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. You shouldn't even know anything about suicide.
And they're actually killing themselves.
Yes. So
these babies are actually taking their lives, girl.
When I seen that and I seen that she was being teased because of complications that she cannot control, I'm just gonna homeschool you because I'm smart. And I'm your first teacher anyway, and you learn better from me, obviously, than you learn from the teachers at the school, because teachers are taught to learn. I mean, teachers are taught to teach one way, but everybody learns different, and I know how you learn, so I'm just gonna homeschool. I can work 3rd shift. That's how I ended up as a bouncer, because I was a pharmacy tech before I was a bouncer.
Okay.
So I went and got a 3rd shift job so I could homeschool my kids.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you. I didn't homeschool Jazz, but I'll tell you, by the time she hit that daycare or whatever it was, she knew how to not only knew her whole name, she could spell her name. She knew her social security number, her address, and her phone number. On top of that, she knew her mama's social security number. She knew my name. She didn't just call me mama. She knew my name. Okay. She could write my name, spell it. I was not playing. Those are the things because I'm about to send her out into the world. If anything happens, she needs to know
everything.
She needs to know everything. If I get lost, she needs to know everything. You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Nope, you don't. It's my 3-year-old. He watches this show called Blimpy, and I had him spelling his name. Zion, how do you spell Zion? Z-I-O-N. Got to watching Blimpy. I'm like, Zion, how do you spell your name? B-L-I-P-P-I. I'm like, that ain't your damn name. That's Blippi. No, I could not get him to spell his name for anything.
See, you had to watch with your kids. But Jazz was not one of them TV babies, because when she was born, Barney was really popular.
I love Barney.
I couldn't stand it.
I hated Mr. Rogers.
That was my show.
Yeah, I didn't like Mr. Rogers.
I watched Mr. Rogers as a grown up, and
he gave me the creeps.
No, see, by me being from a neighborhood, I think. See, that's another thing. That stuff could happen in your neighborhood. Everybody talking back and forth, and everybody know everybody's business in your neighborhood. So he didn't scare me. But Barney, he had me fucked up. I didn't
like Mr. Rogers, I think, because of the what is it? I've never had like a normal father, daughter, or male, female as a young child relationship picture.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. That's what I was saying. That's why we have things that are similar, and then we have things that separate off, but then we all still come back to that same pain and hurt.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? It crosses over and mixes in and mingles, and we end up being pooped out, damaged.
Yep.
But still got to go on, because the world's going to keep moving.
Okay, and broken. I might be a broken crayon, but I color a bomb ass picture.
You know. Okay.
I color a bomb picture.
You know what? I hadn't even thought about it that way. I hadn't even thought. I truly had not.
I still color a beautiful picture.
I really had not even thought about that, because there are things that people could take away from if I vocalize things that have happened to me. Maybe those are things they can look out for to not to run into, to recognize it when it pops up in their own life.
Yeah.
You know, so because I was talking to Rich Alexander, and him and Dennis, they talk me off the ledge a lot. People have no idea. You know, because I'm trying to figure out, do people even want to hear what I have to say?
Of course, why wouldn't they?
So I was just trying to figure out, what did I do now? Because, like I said, me and Jazz had it set up where it was going to be me and her going back and forth, talking about moms and daughters and things like that. And then she was going to be the face of Playlist Promotions, because she's an artist. She was the artist. So that's the way it was supposed to go. I was never supposed to go on anybody's screen, ever. So that's why I'm scrambling. I had to scramble and decide whether I was going to keep doing the podcast or not. So that's why I'm asking, because they really want to hear what I have to say. Because then again, I thought about maybe somebody want to talk about the loss of a child.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be always sad and downtrodden all the time. So that's where the music comes in at. I talk about the music and trying to promote artists.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Oh,
don't even listen. I find a lot of artists, like a lot of the artists I found, how we'll be in the Facebook groups and we'll post in there where the artists post their music. My dinky self, people don't know, I actually go through and listen to the links that people post.
Me too.
And you'll find one artist out of at least 100 that actually they got something.
Right.
But it's getting them to it's like, I'm offering you free promotion. Why are you not taking it? I just found this dude on TikTok. He goes, I ain't gonna say his name because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
But he's a country artist, but he's like a country rap. But he's got the look, he's got the talent, he's got everything. And
if you know what, I'm on TikTok too now, because now when we get online, we can talk about who it is, okay?
Okay.
Because I seen one on there. I'm like, yo,
the light skinned little young dude.
No, this is a white. This is a white one.
I found a little light skinned young dude, and he's got it, but it's like he's too busy on there flirting. And I'm telling him, hey, I'm part of an online review community. They have A&Rs. Are you trying to stay independent? I can tell you how to do this. And I'm offering you these services at this point in time for free. Right. But you're too busy responding to all these females. Are you not worried? I mean, I know that I ain't the most promoter or manager or none of that.
But you know what? Your connection could get him to one that could get him there.
Right. But why are you ignoring I'm not in your life for no reason. I'm the only one that's in your life talking about who you are, what you're doing as an artist. But you too busy kissing a beer can and try Bud Light can and try to be cute for these girls. And I'm telling them, hey, come to this show, come to this show. BOB's manager also has an online music review show. Even if you don't feel like it's enough people in this one, there's other ones where they have 500 people in their review show. You never know who's sitting in these review shows. It's like, but it's so hard to get people to promote their music.
Because I have actually, I got some things I want to talk to you about offline anyway.
Okay.
Because I'm about to do some things as far as my daughter's music is concerned. I have to keep her vision alive.
Right.
Because these are things that she planned on doing. So I have to keep that vision alive, and that's what I need to do. So yeah, I was going to talk to you about that offline anyway, because I think that if we could bring a team of people together, anything can happen. Hey Dean, how are you? Dean just tapped in. Hi, Dean.
Hey Dean.
Yeah, if we could just get people to just really truly work together, because I kind of got out of the community because of all the behind the scenes backbiting that I was seeing going on. And I was like, no.
I was just sitting there watching, like, that ain't my circus, that ain't my monkeys. I'm in here to learn. I see what's going on. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just trying to promote some music. I'm trying to learn. I didn't got
that, but you know what? That nigga
help people out, and then they discard you and throw you on the wayside. Big Sleep. I will mention your name.
Oh, Big Sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Big Sleep? Oh, yeah. Shit. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. He just hit me in my gut. That's my guy.
I'm his protege. I'm Little Sleep.
Hey, girl, you know
but
what?
I ain't heard from Sleep in a minute, but I learned a lot from him. But not really. But anywho.
Oh, you know what? I hate you. You silly. I can't. No, seriously, he talked me down off the ledge a lot.
We used to talk every day.
Oh, I used to talk to Geddes almost. Geddes got me to the point where I started running from my phone, girl.
Geddes used to crack me up. He'd be so aggressive. I'd be like, oh, Lord, I don't know if I should run, listen, or just hang up.
No, wait a minute. One time, me and him was talking on the phone, and he was talking. He had told me what to do already. He had already gave me my walking instructions, so I'm like, but he kept saying, I said, Geddes. He was talking. I said, Geddes. He said, what? I said, hang up, bro.
I call Geddes. I be like, oh, that's the Suge Knight of the music review community.
No, I swear to God. He intimidates people. They get mad, actually. I don't think he intimidates.
I remember he called me and he found out I worked at a club. He was like, see if your club will promote artists. I was like, it ain't that type of club. It's a national chain. It's a dueling piano bar. It's not they don't do that. They have their own. Ask them anyway. And I'm like, Geddes, I know they're going to say no. You should still ask because I'm cool with the owner. And I was like, Geddes, I told you, he said no. I said, but I can, like, if you ever need meet and greets in different cities, I can get free parties arranged in the cities where Howl at the Moon is, where y'all can have y'all meet and greets there. You're going to have to listen to their music. But if you just want to meet, get the artists together and meet each other or whoever, if there's a Howl at the Moon in your city, I can set that party up.
See, I'm thinking of different ideas now since my baby's not here, but I'm still thinking of ways of doing live music videos.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have to be surrounded by the theme of the song, even though, you know what I mean? So they would have to have a storyline with her song playing or something. I don't know. I'm figuring it out slowly. I just have to have the wherewithal to get up every day,
I'm getting feedback. We sound like we in a computer lab. That's what
yep. Yep, I hear it. Yeah, I hear it. What is that? Let me see.
Sound like a bad mix.
Yeah, that's on your end because I just muted.
Okay. Hold on, let me move around and see if that helps.
Okay.
Let me check my phone.
You dealing cards? Are you dealing cards?
What'd you say?
Are you dealing cards?
Am I dealing cards? No, you hear that too? Sound like I'm shuffling tarot cards. Like I saw, but I ain't touching right now.
See, that's what it sounds like. Solid, yep.
No,
I
I
said,
ain't touching them.
yep.
I got some tarot cards, but I ain't touching them.
Really?
In my car.
Wow, that's okay.
Hold on, let me mute it. Okay, did it help?
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. Because you're still dealing.
Yep, it's still doing it.
You'll be shuffling. Okay. You didn't mute yourself, did you? This is what happens when you do it live, y'all. I swear to God. Unplanned, unforeseen problems. I'll snip it right here because really I just want to talk to everybody and see where they're coming from. And if we can come up with a plan to get more people involved and make it more of a community, even if we don't meet each other physically, if we know, just seems like I've made more real friends in the on the internet than I have um, real life. Because the people you thought that would be there for you, they're not really there unless it's convenient. I'm tired of being somebody's convenience. So I started hanging out by myself. You know, I stopped asking for help, stopped reaching out. And that's the bad way to be because if you're like that and you never reach out and things happen, and then they'll say that, well, she never told us. Maybe they would have helped, maybe not, but they've never shown that they would. So why would you put yourself out there? Those are the things I'm trying to overcome. Those are the things I'm trying to grow from. Those are things I want to hear from other people and their experiences. You know, so that's where I'm at. Um, I'm trying to figure out how to get on a better playing field as far as getting my business concerned. Business as far as my business is concerned. Trying to keep from killing this dog because he's down there barking his head off for no reason because he wants to be in my lap and I don't feel like holding him right now. I just want to do what's right. I just want to do what my daughter needed me to do. And I'm trying to figure out how to go forth, how to prosper. Is that even a thing anymore? Prosper? Should you is that unobtainable? I don't know if I've even been looking for happiness per se. I don't think that that's what I'm even in it for now. It's just because I have a job to do now. It's just I have to keep my head down and just stop asking for peace, stop asking for happiness. Because I don't want to feel like that's for the other guy. I just don't look for it. So if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I'm not disappointed. And that's also not a good way to live. See, I know those things mentally, but I'm fighting. That's a fight that I'm going through. I want to stay on a positive. I want to stay on a positive note. And with that said, I just want everybody to know that it's okay to speak out. It's okay to reach out for help. And I appreciate your time. This is the end of my shift. I'll get with you on the next one. Have a lovely day.